Hi everybody. My Zoom is telling me the recording is progress, but let me just check. Yes, it is working. Hi everybody and welcome to the show. Today we're going to discuss the Gurdjieff music, and we have the fantastic musician Ruben Yessayan with us, who does perform the Gurdjieff music. Many of you know that Gurdjieff worked with de Hartmann on making sacred songs and tunes. I think the majority of them were made originally on the piano, and that's what Rubens is, a pianist. So thank you for joining us, Rubens.
Well, thank you for having me, Debbie. How are you?
So Ruben, we're going to talk about your project, but I just wanted to start off with, if it was possible, how did you come to the Gurdjieff music? How did you hear about it?
Well, it was a matter of, I guess we could say, destiny in a way. I have a good friend, dancer, who has her own dance studio, um, which is kind of being a neuralgic point in my life for the last few years, because it's actually where I met my girlfriend and where certain things have generated there after we met working on a movie a few years ago, and in her studio there was this teacher and wife that were starting a Gurdjieff movements group in Madrid, and they were having problems with a pianist because usually they work with a pianist in the Netherlands, but obviously to have that person come to Madrid every month was a little bit of an issue, and they were looking for an accompanist that could do the work here in Madrid. So contacted me, and we talked, and we started working. This was in January 2019, so it's not even been 3 years since then. And at that point, I had heard nothing of this guy Gurdjieff. I had heard nothing of de Hartmann. I didn't know anything about the work or the Gurdjieff's philosophy. And by meeting them once a month, they did the full weekends, full work on the weekends. I started to get to know this. In the beginning, I wasn't very much surprised, I confessed. The music was so-so. I was like, what is this music? Well, I don't quite get into it. So we can say in the beginning, it was just a job. And then with time, it started to transcend into something different, right? Then a few months later, we did an Easter sort of, I don't want to say retirement, because it wasn't a retirement. It was rather a gathering of beautiful people. And there's where I met Anthony Blake, who came to that session. It was we got together for 5-6 days, I think. So I met him there. We started talking. We started sharing ideas, and I guess we became friends since then. And we met again that summer. And then he offered me to collaborate with Diversity in Nashville, and then online through the last few months. And actually, it's been one of the main things through the pandemic that has kept me working and on track of having things to do, is the collaboration with Diversity and Anthony, who would constantly say, "Can you do this? Can you do this? Can we bring this music to this session? Or can you?" And I was like, "Of course, I have nothing else to do."
Yeah, he's very good at getting us all together to do the work, doesn't he? I do admire him for that. But I must say, I found when I first got introduced to the Gurdjieff music, for me at first, I was like, I just don't get this. It wasn't ringing for me. I found it quite boring. It's an awful word to say, but I did find it quite boring. Then one day I went to a concert by a lady. I went with Tony Blake and his son, actually, where a lady pianist played his music, and then hearing it live changed everything for me. And then the next day I went looking for CDs, and then I found a CD by Keith Jarrett, who's one of my favorite jazz artists. And I'm like, wow,
Uh-huh.
he did a CD on Gurdjieff work. And then suddenly I was into it and I got it. But it was like I needed it to vibrate in me suddenly through a live performance. Because it must have been quite
It is important because
go on, sorry.
well, that music was composed for live performance. It really done for recordings. We have to bear in mind that this music was developed in the 1920s, where of course there already were the recording devices, but it wasn't something that trendy as it is today to have music everywhere all the time. So I guess in the beginning, this music served an idea, it served a function, and it was very linked to this kind of education or inner search that Gurdjieff was trying to promote within his students. You know? And yeah, in the beginning, like you, I heard this music, I played this music, and was like, well, you know, I can't find really nothing here. It's kind of boring. You know, I come from the classical tradition, from the Beethoven, from the Mozart, so everything is structure and variation. And, you know, I mean, if you try to put this music against the Beethoven piano sonatas, then, I mean, there's just no possible comparison, right? But seeing the reaction of the students and working with Achaldan group in Madrid, which is called, and you know, there was so much emotion in them. The reactions were so immense. Even some people even cried after listening to some of the music or doing the gestures and the movements accompanied by the music. And so I began to ask myself, well, what am I missing here? What am I not getting? And I realized with time that I was the one who had to change. You know, the music itself is fine. I am the one who had to change the perspective and the way I was listening to it, and to, I guess, just by what it is, not more, not less. You know.
So once you started playing it, I take it you picked it up quite quickly to be able to play it for these classes, because if they needed you, or did they only want certain tunes for certain movements? You only had to learn a few maybe at the beginning?
Well, yeah, every session was programmed, and before every session, the teacher would tell me, you know, a few days before, gonna work on this movement, and I would like you to learn this and this other piece for them to listen to. And but you know, the thing is that because of the classical training, we are trained in sight reading. So pretty much most of the music that is written by Gurdjieff and de Hartmann for people like us is sight readable. We don't need to practice it really. Something else is when you try to do something a little more artistic and you want to give your perspective on that piece of music, then of course you sit down, you study it, you look at it from different things. But from the perspective of a job of accompanying a class, many times I wouldn't even need to practice it at all.
Okay.
Just we would get there, played, and you know, since I'm gonna play every piece for like 1 or 2 hours non-stop, one and again and again and again and again and again, well, that's the practicing time.
So once you started, like you say, you realized that you had to change yourself, and then you started getting in tune with the music. Sorry to say it like that. And you, like you fell for the music and really wanted to perform it more, not just for the classes.
Well, I think it's a kind of music that has a very concrete way of being presented. You can't just put it in any kind of recital. Probably in the future, if I put it in the recitals, I will just take 2 or 3 pieces and just put them along some Armenian music and some other stuff, or Spanish music, and I like to do varied programs. But in this case, the main project was actually or is actually to do a double CD recording of some of my favorite pieces, and to, I think, just gather a general idea of this huge body of music, but just the music that is supposed to be listened to without movements. And on one hand is the music done for the movements, and on the other hand, there's these 4 volumes of scores that have to do more with the actual listening, with the idea of paying attention, and they, both of them, Gurdjieff and de Hartmann, worked on this music with that idea of trying to be non-symmetrical. In fact, in most of the pieces, you will not find 8-bar phrases as the usual, or every 4-4-4, 8-8-8, in some of the most ethnic music they do, but in everything that is the hymns, processions, and all this, the time signatures are constantly changing. The length of the phrases are constantly changing. There is always trying for some element of surprise to make something that you don't expect. Okay, because whenever we listen to music, even if we are not consciously counting, our brain is counting, and we always try to complete, and we expect that this phrase is going to go like this. So they try to break that all the time, and the main idea of that is to make the listener pay attention to what's going on.
Which is the all-important lesson that Gurdjieff's trying to teach us all about our attention. And how we're using it.
I think for what I've learned through Anthony and collaborating with all these people, without being an expert at all in this system, the idea of attention is very linked to idea of meaning, and those 2 elements are at the basic core of this entire philosophy.
So with the project you're working on now, as you're saying, you're doing this double CD, and you're recording it currently, aren't you?
It's going to be recorded in the next few months, and hopefully by Christmas it'll be all done and packed and ready to go.
And is it just you on the piano, or have you got other musicians coming in?
Just me.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
Okay.
But
yeah, in this case, I just don't like to collaborations in this thing, because it's my unique way of looking at this music, which maybe some people accustomed to the work may not like. I don't know, because I've been reading recently about how now there is this great body of recorded Gurdjieff music by different pianists and different ensembles and stuff like that. And generally, this writer, Johanna Peche, that writes a little bit wrote a book on Gurdjieff and its music, says, well, usually the people in the work dislike very much the interpretations of pianists who are not in the work. Yeah, exactly. There are these things like they kind of, I think, become possessive of this. This is mine. This is ours. Don't you dare.
Because surely we should be trying to get this music out there. If it's making an effect on people, even if they don't know it's having that effect on them, they're feeling that kind of effect.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't matter who's doing it. Okay, it might be different if it's someone that is in the Gurdjieff work. Maybe I don't know, maybe they're able to put something a bit more into it. I don't know, but I've read her articles, actually, her essays rather, in some of the journals, and I think they're very good. But I agree with you, there's a lot of people wanting to keep it to themselves, and I really think that Gurdjieff wanted us to put it out there for those that have ears to hear. And there are people out there who would not find it in any other way.
Of course. Actually, Gurdjieff spent the last few years of his life recording like crazy him on the harmonium. So, if he didn't want that to come out, then he wouldn't have done it. If the Hartmann didn't want that to come out, they wouldn't have published 4 entire books of the music that are available to everybody. It's, you know, I mean, there's kind of like that in the classical world also, you know. Oh, this pianist plays Beethoven, like, no, oh no, everybody else is, I play this better than you. And it's like, please.
Not about who's better, it's about the quality of what's going out there. Because I think, I know you were
Exactly.
saying you are in the work though, in a way, because you've been working in the work in the last few years. It doesn't matter if you've been in it 10 years, 20 years, or 20 minutes. If you're attracted to it and can produce it in a way that affects people, I think that's very important. And you know, your album, which will hopefully be coming out soon, will be another great contribution to the Gurdjieff music. And as you say, there are other people out there, but everybody does it. Like the songs aren't changed in any way, but they have their way of producing it or putting it out there. So would it be
Of course.
interpretations?
I mean, and an example that you mentioned before with Keith Jarrett, actually. There is, I do think there is one element about performing this music that everybody should kind of respect. Okay. Sometimes you could see as classical pianists that too emotional on the stage and making, you know, extreme movements, or because, you know, we get excited, and this is something that we all do when we're young, and as we grew up we try to get away less and less because it's a distraction in the end, you know. And I think that when playing this music, you should try to move the less possible. You should try to just do all your effort just in what it is to produce the sound that you want. Okay. And you know Keith Jarrett, and if you love Keith Jarrett, I'm sure you've seen him, how he just goes crazy on the stage and even gets up on the piano and, you know, and starts singing. And but in that CD, you will not hear him singing.
That's true.
You will not hear him improvise. He plays the music just as it is, you know. It was a tour de force for him to record this music like this. He wasn't in the work, but one of his collaborators was, and I think, and I don't know much the story about that CD, but I do know that he had to try very hard not to do his usual stuff. So recording that CD for him was an education in itself.
Oh, it probably did him,
And
you know, wonders. He probably came away from that with totally new feelings, thoughts, and everything. The work was working in him.
probably that happened.
So with your project.
So in my case, yeah.
Go on.
Tell me.
Please carry on. What you used to say in your case?
No, I say in my case, my main objective one is to try to play this music as beautiful as I can, because I think that's the main point of what it is. Not try to make the simple complex. What is simple and must remain that way. And I do search a lot for a quality in the tone, in the singing tone of the melody. That's kind of the thing that I've always seen that people who listen to me in the classes are most emotional about, right? Oh, you're singing this, or the full sound of the melody. You know, I think it's essentially melodic music. So, you know, melody in this case is absolute. Is the emperor. It's the all and everything, we could say.
So with your project, as for most people, this costs money to do this kind of thing, which is why you're doing. I think they call it a crowdfunder, isn't it? I've signed up. I know I've signed up.
A crowdfunding.
So could you tell us a bit about that, please, so people can know if they want to find out more about your CD, because you've got explains what you're doing and why you're doing it and how people can buy their copy or contribute.
Mm-hmm. Well, for people who don't know how this works, the crowdfunding is a kind of collaborative project that obviously started with the internet about a decade ago, maybe probably even a little sooner. But this idea that you as an artist or as a whatever it is that you need funding for. You put your idea out there, you calculate how much money do you need to get that project going, and then you find yourself one of the websites that is specialized crowdfunding platform that is going to do things for you in terms of having a website for you, of having doing the transactions, the financial transactions for you, so you don't have to worry about that. To give security to that website, so there's no problems with money getting lost. And basically after that, you just have to go on a campaign yourself and promote it. And Facebook, Instagram, all kinds of different networks, emailing, and just let people know that you're doing this and see if they want to help you achieve your goal, which in this case is recording, editing, and manufacturing of a double CD. The thing with this one, because of the things, how are things going today, in 2021, barely people are not buying CDs anymore. Usually most people are just listening everything on Spotify or on any other kind of stream service. So this is going to be an on-demand thing. Only the people who donate for the campaign will be able to get a physical copy of this project. It will not be available for anybody else, at least for some time. So for everybody else, they will have to go to some kind of streaming service, as I said before, you know. And that's the way today of giving something unique to people who are making a donation, you know. The fact that only them will have a copy of this physical CD, and whoever wants it will be able to get it signed, or, you know, just try to. So it's kind of a collaboration between the artist directly with his fans, his friends, his whoever wants to help him out. And I did this a few years ago with another record I did, and it was a great experience to do. So I decided to do it again this time.
Oh, it's going to be good. Where can people go? What's the website?
The website is called Indiegogo. So if you want, when I publish this video, we can put the full address, the full link, because it's not as easy to get. But it's www.indiegogo.com. And once in that site, then you have to look for the project that you're searching in.
Would they look for you, your name, or would they look for, because you've got a project name, haven't you? Or if I...
Yeah, they can look for my name. They can look under the music category. They will find there's lots of different projects. That's why, I mean, if we put the link below the
we'll do that.
The video or something, that's going to be the easiest way to find it.
Oh, it's going to be really good. I wish you all the luck with it. What we should do when you've when it's ready and all prepared, or even perhaps even if you still want to do it another time, maybe we should just record you playing something sometime, or you record yourself playing something, and I'll put it on the channel, on my YouTube channel. You know, just to
excellent.
Get people interested, so you can see how good you are. Because I know how good you are. I've heard you play, so I know it's worth it. But for some people, they might not.
Thank you.
Is there any sites or films of you anywhere playing the Gurdjieff music?
Yeah, in fact, on my YouTube channel, I did in the pandemic. I did it as a sort of healing process. I recorded 10 hymns from a great temple. They're called. There's so many, I forget. Yeah, hymns from a great temple.
It is, yes, because I've seen them. I'm sure you've done that one, yes. So
I did the 10 of them separately, one by one. I would be putting them in through the span of a month, I think it took me, because I did it here at home with camera. Of course, it was the pandemic. We couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go record in a studio. So I did it here at home as sort of a process of learning, of sharing, of healing for whoever wanted to take care of it. And once we were able to get out, I thought about if I should take them out of YouTube, and I said, no, let's just leave here as a testament of what happened, and
Yeah.
and now I will actually record them again now in the studio, with a great piano and great recording devices, and they will sound much better now. But I think there's some magic in something that is done in your house, in your piano, which is out of tune. That situation that we all lived, that was so hard.
You have the two versions, the pandemic version and then the production version.
Exactly. Each one is special in its own way. So,
and hopefully sometime in the future, when things are kind of allowing us all to travel, we'll be able to come and see you play somewhere.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Do you have anything happening? Not necessarily Gurdjieff, but any performances coming up in the very near future?
Well, I just gave my first recital in a year and a half, which was it was exciting and it was frightening at the same time. Because it's amazing how you lose the this naturality of being on a stage, something that you've done your whole life. Suddenly it's frightening. It's like, oh, how will I play? Will I remember? I mean, so the beginning of the concert was I just couldn't feel myself there. And like, who's this guy who's playing this? Whose hands are this? Why is the page so far away?
Why is the audience looking at me?
Yeah, it was horrible. But after 2-3 pieces, you start getting back. It's actually me. I am the one who's playing this. Oh, okay. Now I start to recognize myself again. But yeah, I have a music festival 150 kilometers away from Madrid, and we've just finished a couple days ago this season, and no, I decided my first concert there. Probably I could have played some more in the last year and a half, but once this pandemic exploded, I just decided to stop and think and reflect and see if I wanted to keep doing things the same way, or whether I had to change something or take a different direction. It was very useful in that sense.
Well, thank you very much for this, Ruben. It's been a real great pleasure talking to you, and I'm really looking forward to my CD when you're finished, and actually hearing you live one day. Though I do, like you were saying about Tony Blake earlier, for those that don't know about Diversity, it's something to sign up to, all run by Tony Blake and a few others, and Ruben often plays there as well on the evenings when they have a get-together. It's all on Zoom. So do look up Diversity and look up the shows I've done with Tony Blake. But also, especially go and look at Ruben's website and his channel. What's your YouTube channel? Just your name?
Yeah, just Ruben Yessayan. It's
okay.
Easy to find.
So thank you very much, Ruben. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, Debbie.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.